Hello, everybody, and welcome to TroTalk, the TroTech Laser webinar. This month's edition, we will be covering TroCare. I am Laser Gabe, and I am joined by my two very good friends and colleagues, Duncan Holwell and Deanna Pauley. Duncan is our Northwestern Tech Service Manager out in Vancouver. That's actually Duncan Holwell and not Hollowell, as I mistakenly put on the ad. So those of you who were looking for Duncan Hollowell, I do apologize. He is out today, probably on a service visit. But we have Duncan Holwell here, and he will be here to answer many of your tech questions. He's been with us. How long have you been with us, Duncan?
Going on 6 years now, actually.
6 years. Yeah, so no better person to ask about stuff like this. Thank you for joining us, Duncan. Appreciate it. And then Deanna, our inside sales and customer experience manager. I believe you mostly cover TroTech. You've been with us for just a few months now. Just kind of been very enthusiastic getting to know the role. It's very, very good to have you here, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yep, I'm your TroCare specialist. So I handle your enrollment, the processing of TroCare, any questions you might have. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Absolutely. And yeah, if these voices sound familiar to you, it's probably because they are. I hear Deanna taking a lot of calls from my office all the time. And I'm sure Duncan takes many, many calls as well. So I'm sure you've heard from both of them, and now you can finally put a voice to an actual face here at this point. What you'll also notice here is that our usual host, Don Connell, is not here at the present time. He is actually doing a road show. He does a great job. We will miss him. Don't worry. He will be back. But he is doing a Prairie Province road show. I'm not super good at Canadian geography, but I believe he started this road show in Calgary, which is in Alberta, and he will be ending this in Winnipeg, further east in the province of Manitoba. I had to look that up. So good geography lessons for me today. Yeah, I know. I wanted to impress our Canadian watchers here, especially because we are doing this on the TroTech Laser Canada YouTube channel. But if you are in that area up in Canada and looking for a demo, I want to talk to Don, please feel free to reach out. Don would be happy to schedule that with you. And he knows lasers. So we're looking forward to having him back, but he won't be here this time. The other thing we will be doing soon is preventative maintenance tours that are coming up soon, both in Canada and in the US. Duncan, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so keep an eye out for our email blast that we're doing for these PM tours. They're going to be for discounted travel rates and a little bit of a discount on our package price. These are going to be launching over the next week with the email blast for April. So sign up for your April tours now.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, definitely a great opportunity if that's something you're looking for. So yeah, without further ado, we can kind of get right into this. We are covering TroCare today. I think this was a really good idea. We've had TroCare for I think a little over a year now is from when we launched it. I don't remember the exact date. And we've had emails, we've had ads go out, but we haven't really had any of us just kind of sit down and talk about it, what it means and give people the opportunity to just kind of ask some questions, right? So I'm going to go over just some of the things that it covers. Feel free to chime in at any time, guys, or just ask any questions. We will answer them the best that we can. So TroCare, basically, this is just an enhancement of your standard 2-year warranty. First and foremost, for new laser buyers, this is going to cover the installation costs on your new machine, which is around $1,200, but that can vary based on machine. And then also that's $1,200 US. I don't know what it is in Canada, but it's going to be somewhat similar in that conversion rate. It's also going to cover parts and labor, travel costs up to 350 miles, I believe, for an additional cost outside of 150 miles. We can go more into that later. Priority remote support within 4 hours, a 72-hour on-site guarantee if the remote support is not enough, and then also 1 preventative maintenance visit a year. Of course, we just talked about we're doing some preventative maintenance tours. But yeah, let's kind of start with, I feel like the installation's pretty cut and dry, right? That's always going to be on your quote. As a former sales manager, I've always, included that on each and every quote. And TroCare was always a big plus for people who are buying new machines because they get to see that price kind of get knocked off. So you're already paying for, like, I don't know, a good portion of your TroCare with this installation cost, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I meant to call
out. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, again, not too much to go into it there. For those you don't know, when you buy a new laser, your sales manager or a tech manager or an installer, whoever the case may be, will come out and make sure the laser's running, teach you how to use it, usually spend a whole day there, and that will be covered with the cost. So we got a question here, actually. Is that per laser? So do you pay for your TroTech laser, your TroCare per laser, or do you just get TroCare for all systems when you buy it?
Yeah, so for the TroCare, it's per laser, per serial number. So it's almost like car insurance, how you can need insurance per fleet, but you can get a fleet package. We do look at things like that. If you have multiple units, we can work out some sort of deal depending on what we see. But typically, customers like to jump in one at a time, which makes sense. You want to trial the program, you want to see how it works, if benefits there for you. But we can always sign up free. We can always sign up one. There's no limit, and then I guess the minimum could be one.
Perfect. Yeah, and again, sorry, I didn't want to cause any chaos. I said beforehand I'd be calling on you guys, and I have now failed to do it twice in a row. So I will try to do better on the next couple of questions. I do apologize. So going to something like parts and labor, right? I mean, just saying, when I say parts and labor, it sounds a little vague. Duncan, this might be a good question for you, but Deanna, if you think this would be even better, feel free to hop in. What parts specifically? You don't have to go through every single one that we offer, but what would be like common parts that you'd see that you'd think people would ask most about? And then what does labor costs actually entail there?
So I can take the parts, and then maybe Duncan can touch on the labor. So it includes non-wearable parts. So wearable parts like on your laser would be lens solution, tissue wipes, mirrors, telescopes. Those are wearable, they wear out. So those are not covered under TroCare. Your more expensive parts are covered, your actual laser source, which is your tube, the red dot pointers, the belts, the bearings, the motors. Those are very expensive parts. And that's what TroCare covers exclusively.
Perfect. And then, so the labor itself, and that kind of goes into so generally there'd be the actual time you spend on site, right? And also the travel that it takes to get there. Is that basically what that's referring to there, Duncan?
Exactly. So it takes care of any remote diagnosis we need to do. And that's one of the big differentiators we have between our warranty and our TroCare is the coverage of our labor and travel. With that, if you had just the warranty-based package, we would just need to quote you for the labor and the travel, but the part would be included under that program. But under the TroCare, you don't have to worry about any of that. So that includes any of the travel, any of the overnight fees. If you need us on site, we get there under the TroCare.
Perfect. So kind of moving to priority remote support. Deanna, I hear you fielding a lot of calls all the time. I'm not sure. There's a lot of different ways to make a case. You can call in, you can send an email, you can do it online. But please educate me on this a little bit. What is kind of the difference there for TroCare, with this added feature?
So when you're enrolled in TroCare, you're enrolled in a white glove service with priority support, remote support, on-site support. And the remote support, if you make a case or you call in, so whether it's email or by phone, you're guaranteed a 4-hour priority turnaround time on that issue. Right now,
sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Right now, if you call in or make a case, our queue time is running 24 hours. So when your machine is down and you're losing production, that 4-hour priority turnaround time can be very, very important to you.
Yeah, no doubt. I would have to think that makes a big difference. I definitely asked just because I don't know how the whole system works either. I've made cases myself. Always call your sales reps with questions too. If sometimes that can be the quickest way to get a question answered, but if you need to escalate things a little bit, you're having a problem, Hopefully we can get you on the phone with Duncan as soon as possible, or email support, whatever the case may be. Sometimes the solutions are very simple as that. It's turning it off, turning it back on. But definitely, like, is exactly what Deanna was saying. If you're losing business because you can't get your laser running, it's definitely good to get someone on the phone as soon as possible.
That's another great point we have for TroCare as well, is the phone support queues that we have now. We are so proud that we have our call center, but not only the call center, the option to have a TroCare direct reach out. So if you ever feel the need to follow up or reach out to us, there's always that direct line that is verified, inspected, and we always get the call from there. So we always follow it up as well if we need to get back to you.
Perfect. Yeah, and moving on here, just down the list of certain coverages with TroCare, I want to talk about PMs a little bit, because this is another thing I don't know too much about. I've never done one myself. I've never had one, as I am not a TroTech customer. So Duncan, I want to kick this to you. Can you just kind of talk about what a preventative maintenance is? I know we talked about it a little bit in the tours, but why should our customers be excited about this?
Well, the preventative maintenance are a great resource for our customers because they prevent the exact thing that it's saying is it's preventing any downtime, right? It's preventative maintenance. So what we're doing there is we're not just inspecting your laser output and your laser alignment, but we're also inspecting your entire motion system, all belt conditions. Over time, a year 5 or so, we see gearing belts worn down. And this could lead to skipping issues. This could lead to engraving issues. And we want to catch this before anything actually happens with your engravings, because once that's going, then we have problems and we need to chase down the emergency runs, and you're down for a day or two until maybe possibly that 3rd day. And we always want to prevent that. So with the TroCare, this is always included annually. But if you don't have the TroCare, we're always offering these tours that allow us to get out there for a discounted rate compared to just signing up on your own. And this is also a great stepping stone, because once you've had your preventative maintenance, you're now eligible for TroCare. If any repairs are needed, we'll make a recommendation to you. But it's a wonderful step to get into that complete coverage and ensure that year after year you have the production you need from your unit.
Got it. Perfect. Question here we got. I think this is going to kind of go back to what we were saying a minute ago. You have TroCare, but you've run into issues with updates and stuff like that, communications. How would having TroCare in a case like that, I can kick that to you again, Duncan, or Deanna, if you prefer, help with something like that? I would think, I can at least try to answer this myself, and feel free to jump in at any time. Just being able to have priority remote support, being able to get a hold of someone faster than you otherwise would definitely, be able to, assist with getting you back online faster. Because like Deanna was saying, the current queue time, outside can be 24 hours or so. And that's a long time to have to wait, to fix a software problem, I would think.
Yeah, and that's another great thing that I appreciate Tanya asking from Kids and Crate, who's a local customer to me. I appreciate you tuning into the stream. The service that you've experienced from your communication issues, typically what you've experienced is me handpicking the cases, signing it out, and getting your response as soon as possible. With the TroCare, you're getting that across the board. So everyone across North America is looking for these priority cases and getting them done as soon as possible.
Now we have a question a little bit about pricing, and I do have some of those here. So what I meant here when I said $1,200, that was the value of the installation itself. TroCare costs differ from each machine. So if you're looking at a per month or per year cost, that's different. Deanna told me before this, most people will pay monthly. But if you're a bigger company and you'd like to pay it all in front 1 or 2 years, that's also fine. Definitely give her, if you're considering TroCare and want to get a quote on that, definitely give her a call. I don't want to bore you all with every single number that we have, for our prices on TroCare, but I can, for a Speedy 50, you're looking at about $125 a month, whereas a Speedy 400, you're looking at about $290 per month, I believe is the current price. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. And that is US dollars. That's not exactly the same in Canada. So, reach out and we can assist you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this program, and we've got flyers, and I reached out to many of you that had signed up as early as last week and sent out a flyer and some additional information so you'd have a little bit of familiarity if you're already not a TroCare customer. The program was built just very simply and inclusively based on your location. You're either 150 miles from a service center or 350 miles. It was built on the model of your machine, and the price constitutes how far you are from the service center and your machine. And it's really that simple: the size of your machine, how much the parts cost. So it's an inclusive program. It's not, based on customer or based on anything but your location and your machine.
Wonderful. And Deanna, I want to kick it right back to you actually, because we're, talking about installations and stuff earlier. And that's on new machines. But it is entirely possible if you are a current TroTech user and you got your laser before TroCare, we introduced it, or if you bought it and didn't buy TroCare right away. How does that work if you are a current laser user and you want to enroll in TroCare? Like, do you know what's the process look like?
So you can call in, you can email. I am your TroCare specialist, so you could call me, you could email me and ask me for a quote. We look up what kind of machine you have, the year your machine was made. You are able to enroll your machine into TroCare for up to 7 years. So if you bought it in 2000, you can enroll, for 7 years. And we would provide a quote to you, give you the flyer, all the information, and it's just as simple as accepting that, making your payment, and then you would be enrolled. At that point, we do an eligibility check on the machine. Sorry, and what we do is we take the preventative maintenance that is included with the yearly TroCare, and we come out and we do the check, do the 23-point tune-up, and we deem if your machine is eligible. So that is really the process. At that point, we move forward with the enrollment into TroCare.
Wonderful. And Duncan, correct me if I'm wrong, are you ever the person who would go out and do something like that? Or is that not necessarily what your job entails at this point?
So traditionally, I would be the one reaching out, confirming the appointment with the technician. But if push comes to shove, I'm not afraid to jump out in the field and get things going. It's all about making things productive, right? So biggest part for us on the tech side is we want to be your biggest vendor partner, and we want to be your best friend. So if we can get your machine up and running, and if me getting out of the office solves that, that's exactly what we'll do.
Yeah, so Duncan, not afraid to get out in the battlefield. We love to see that. What are the kinds of things specifically, I guess, and what would you be looking for when you're kind of inspecting a machine, other than from looking at our database how old the system is, but what kind of things are you gonna kind of ensuring beforehand to deem a system eligible?
So we're making sure that functionality is fully there, right? So we want to make sure that, one, that the system moves, that the motors are functioning, two, that your optics are optics. Sometimes they can be charred up if they're not clean enough or if they're looked after and things like that. We just want to make sure they're in perfect condition before we get you on the plan so that we can ensure moving forward, we'll always have you at a consistent standard. We would hate to enroll you and then your machine be performing poorly, and we all assume that everything's working great, and then it works to just a bad communication, and that's what we're trying to avoid always, right? Next thing we look for is we're looking for any kind of dust accumulation, any worn down parts, like I mentioned earlier with the belts. Those are big. Our machines run fast, they run hard, and we want to make sure that they're as accurate as possible, and that's one of the steps we take. We look at the calibration of the timing of the laser to the bed. So we're making sure that everything is working functionally. When you zoom in, you're getting crisp lines. You're not getting any weird wisps or marks. We're just making sure you're in perfect functioning condition.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah, that's so there's your process there for people who have a speedy laser that's younger than 7 years and would like to potentially enroll in TroCare. Question here from Daniel. Is there a listing of where the service centers are at? I believe there is, but Duncan, do you know more, or either of you, do you know where you could find that?
Yeah, it's not published, but we do check it when you call in for a quote. So we've got them placed throughout the country and throughout Canada. So we would just check that for you to make sure you're within one of the two distances. I just don't have them in front of me. It's not a secret. But we do have good coverage. We don't have complete U.S. coverage or complete U.S. Canada coverage, but we've got a lot of coverage.
Yeah. I think thought there might have been one on our website, but if there isn't, that can definitely be something we can distribute. Like Deanna's saying, she's not in front of her at this very second. But if you were looking to enroll in TroCare, we could send you that and we verify your distances and stuff like that. So yeah, this kind of just going back to what we were saying before with the priority remote support. Yes, you will be getting a faster response than if you were not a TroCare member. That's kind of what you're paying for there, I believe. I don't know if we need to go too much further into that, but yeah, feel free to keep the questions rolling. Loving this right now.
I don't mind expanding on that a little bit more. Because the traditional I can give you a kind of brief overview of non-TroCare versus TroCare and how that process works on your end. So we have our different service standards of 24 hours versus 4 hours. That is always a given that we always preach. But the secret of it is when we go into a normal case, what we have to do is we have to quote you. We have to get approval for that quote before we can dispatch. Under TroCare, we can skip all that because the technician can just assign under TroCare the parts that he may or does need, and then he can decide himself out. So there's no need to look into any labor cost approval, no need to negotiate any flights for his buses, no need to look at any parts that we should leave behind just in case we don't want to, put it on the quote. We can bring everything we need in a very quick response, which allows us to fill that 72-hour response time on TroCare versus, once you get AP involved and you need a controller's approval for the quote, you can add 3, 4, maybe even a week to the response time. And that's just to get the approval, right? So this is a much faster response time in terms of immediate need and immediate response.
Perfect. Thank you, Duncan. Another question here from cell phone. Just trying to get what would be, I guess, the best way to reach you, Deanna. Just if you want to throw out your work email, so that if anyone wants to get in touch with you or whatever your work line is, I don't know if that's the best way, but just, so people can try to get in touch with you as soon as they can to enroll in this program.
Yeah, definitely. So it's Deanna, DEANNA .Pauli, P as in Paul, AULI at TroTechLaser, all one word, .com.
Perfect. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely the best way to reach us. We're always on our emails all the time. I don't know how the phone system exactly works getting with Deanna, but getting that email in, we can get you started pretty much right away. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick here, because this is maybe a difference right now at the moment between the US and Canada, is that actually in the United States, we do offer TroCare on our speed marker systems. We won't go too deep into that. That was something I believe we rolled out near the end of last year for the speed markers. Again, not available in Canada, but I mean, Duncan, you still talk about the speed markers, the speed markers. Is there anything maybe different than the speedies that you can think of, parts wise, labor wise, that you could think of? Yeah, I think TroCare would be a great thing to enroll in with the speed marker as opposed to a speedy.
Yeah, I mean, the speed marks are a great, reliable device, but like any device, they need some care. They need some love every now and then. So the TroCare, as mentioned with the speedy, is really great for getting us out there once a year just to inspect your system, make sure it's stable. The speed mark has a lot of electronic components compared to the speedy. It's quite a bit more. So there's a lot of other things that we look out for electrical wise compared to the speedies. On that note, I can also say that the coverage on there, we do the same 72-hour priority response, same 4-hour priority remote response. So it's just a great program that we're expanding into that speed mark line, and we're excited to one day have it in Canada here too.
Wonderful. Question here from Steven, kind of talking about time differences and stuff like that. Maybe Duncan, do you want to talk about how we maybe have techs in different regions of North America so that we can kind of fulfill these requests where, maybe you're not in at a certain time because Duncan is 3 hours behind us. It's actually it's 12 o'clock here, it's lunchtime, and Duncan, it's still morning. How do you guys go about that?
So we have teams staggered throughout the country, all the way starting East Coast in Quebec to Florida to Vancouver in California. So we have communication internally that we have now with our area service managers. And if we need to resume communication in a different time zone, we're able to just fly that over to whoever that tech manager is, and they get that assigned to the next available agent. So our communication there is just keeps getting better as we keep expanding the team, and the call center that we've launched over the past year has just been doing a great job in reaching out to the customers and making sure there's no downtime or long extended wait time if you're expecting to hear from us.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Just sometimes I forget too, because our headquarters, Deanna and I both work in Plymouth. Duncan works out in Vancouver. We also have people in Texas, others in Canada. So we have a lot of people, not just in tech, but in every department of this company. We are spread. Again, most of us, I think, or a lot of us are in Michigan and Texas, but we got people on the East Coast, West Coast, Northwest Coast, that kind of thing. So a lot of diversity there. Question again from Kits and Crates. What is the difference between the manufacturing warranty and the TroCare warranty when it comes to parts and system functionality, of course, besides faster service? And guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this kind of just goes back to a few of the things we listed. Other than that, travel, preventative maintenance, mentioned parts and labor. Duncan, do you want to, or Deanna, do you want to? Sorry, go ahead.
There's no significant difference between parts on either of the plans. We cover both under each. We still have the same caveat of consumable parts aren't covered, such as lenses, mirrors, lens wipes, grid tables for cutting, like the honeycomb tables. But other than that, there's no difference between having just regular warranty and TroCare unless you prioritize having that response time. If that's important to you, then this is a great service. But if you're able to wait the 24 hours for the response, then the parts coverage is still the same. We just need to look into labor and travel if that applies.
Gotcha. And kind of bouncing off that a little bit, I believe two of the things that would not be covered. One would be, and this is listed on here, is materials. That is a separate entity entirely. So if you are looking to buy our materials, which are great and awesome, by the way, please reach out to us. That would be excellent. The other thing I believe would be filters and Atmos systems, right? That those are not covered in TroCare.
Yeah, those are going to be consumable items. That's
Gotcha.
part of a health and safety item that you just need to keep topped up to ensure not only that you're safe, but also your laser is getting the extraction it needs to operate safely.
Perfect. Another question here from cell phone, a Speedy 300 from 2005 on an original tube, so it'd be 20 years old. I would say from what I've learned today, that would not be covered by TroCare because it is older than 7 years. Absolutely. Duncan, we have a couple like technical related questions here that are a little outside of TroCare. I don't know if you'd feel good about answering any of these right now. Only a couple if you want to get into them real quick. From Mike Clark, how do I zero the laser to the XY table guides?
And with Ruby, you can go into the settings under the device option, and you can choose to rehome. If you set your laser to the 0, 0 position you're looking for, and you're logged in as the super user, this is very important, you'll have that option to home the 0, 0 to that new position.
Perfect. Thank you, Duncan. One more here, and this came in earlier. I didn't want to ignore Lauren here because she's asked a few good questions here. Just talking about her camera, I believe probably on a Speedy 360 or 400. Sometimes it doesn't load correctly when turned on, and then rebooting the machine will sometimes help it. Is that normal? Is that just like a turn it back on and off situation? Or do you have any other tips there?
That's a maintenance piece, I would say. We typically, if you're using a run on Ruby system, when you do turn off the system every day at night, that actually the computer stays on. So we would recommend to turn off the back switch at least once a week. Just give yourself a proper fresh start. If you notice that happening more often than that, I would submit a ticket so we could escalate and look a little further into that if you still see it coming.
Yeah, and does that differ with a newer machine that would be like a smart electronics machine, or is that going to be the same on even the previous machines?
It's going to mostly apply to the newer machines as we have a PC in there now. So that issue you're relaying is mostly going to be related to the PC side we have installed in the unit. And a simple reset should take care of that once you power it down. Just a driver reset is all we're doing. But if you still notice that going on, then we could be dealing with a corrupt driver or possibly a communication cable that we want to get replaced.
Perfect. And yeah, and guys, feel free to ask any questions here. We'll try to answer them best we can. Deanna, this is when we're talking about pricing and stuff like that. You were telling me you think so. It's nice that we do offer this monthly option. When you in the time that you've been here, do you notice that more people you think go with that monthly option, or do you think more people would pay, for the whole thing in full right off the bat?
Yeah, it's really a personal company preference. I'd say it's half and half. You might have larger companies that just want to pay it, and get it taken care of. And sometimes people just want to have a monthly credit card payment, and just do it that way. So any of those ways are fine. And there is no additional fees or anything to do it either way. It's really a personal preference.
Perfect. And then real quick, we didn't talk too much about what the standard warranty for TroCare is. It's 2 years and it will cover certain parts, I believe. But either way, you do not, I don't want people to think you don't have access to our tech team if you don't have TroCare. They are still readily available for you. You can give us a call. You can still get parts. You can still get a preventative maintenance visit, or have techs travel to fix your machine. We obviously hope none of that ever has to happen, but that is still something that TroCare in general offers to all of its customers. Even if you do have an older machine, we'll take a look. We'll try to have something happen there. Yeah. Other than that, though, if there are no other questions here, you guys have any final thoughts? Maybe I'll go for you, Deanna, first. What do you think about TroCare? Why do you think a customer should enroll?
Yeah, so I have a little thing that I like to discuss with customers and kind of an overview of TroCare. So when you're enrolled in TroCare, you're enrolled in a white glove service program. It's designed to alleviate the stress of unforeseen expenses. This is a set cost for the year. It's built this way on purpose. There's no price increases. You receive the qualifying parts, priority phone, and on-site support, as well as the annual preventative maintenance visit, including the tune-up, cleaning of the machine. So this provides a value to you all year long while fully protecting your machine. So it's almost like a feeling. You know that for that annual enrollment, you're covered. You're not going to pay one dime more. You're going to call in and get 4-hour phone support. If we deem it necessary to come out, like your machine is really down, something's wrong, you're going to get a 72-hour guaranteed on-site support. So that is kind of TroCare in a nutshell. It's yep.
Yeah,
it's
I
protection for your machine, for your business, to ensure that you don't have downtime and that you're not spending, tons of money to have all of a sudden an emergency visit from TroCare.
Yeah, I agree. I think almost everyone that buys our lasers, it's because they are looking to run a business. And if a primary cog in your business isn't functioning correctly, that can obviously be a big detriment. So being able to have this, safety net, I think is of great value. Before I go over to you, Duncan, we have a question here. The per month cost on a Speedy 300, that our cell phone here has two that are 3 years old. So at least by age, they would be eligible. Of course, we'd have to look into that. And again, feel free to get in touch with Deanna, and she can get you more official numbers. I believe the per month cost for a 300 is $210 US. But again, that is within 150 miles. So we'd have to kind of get into it, figure out where you are from a service center. But that's the general base on what we would promote on a flyer would be 210. And then another question from Daniel, is there a base cost on the PM tour visit, or is that location based as well? Duncan, that might be a better one for you.
So it's going to be location based, as the distance from our office is different per customer. We have quite a few
Right.
remote customers, and the pricing is different between Canada and US. So I would recommend reach out. You can get a quote. You can turn us down if that's how it goes. That's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's included in the TroCare price. In Canada right now, we're offering it for, I believe it's $9.25, and in America, I believe it's somewhere around the $12.85 cost, or somewhere around there. And that includes travel, labor, all the parts we need to complete the service, and we give you a full report after of anything that's possibly needed. And I just wanted to add again to kind of recap on what Deanna was saying earlier, that this is a peace of mind service that we're offering. It's a controlled cost that we're committed to for the year, and especially in the world how we are right now with the trades and the tariffs, it's a great program to be in because there's also non-deductible. So if you ever do need to use this program, there's no upfront cost to activate the program or anything like that. You've already paid your dues right at the beginning or monthly, and we can get going and getting your machine back operating. This includes the laser tube as well. So the laser tube is covered under this plan for anyone who's interested. But I think you did a great job explaining it, Deanna, and I'll give it right back to you, Gabe.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna let you chime in there, but I thought Deanna summed it up pretty well. I'm glad you just had some more to add there. Yeah, exactly. It's a peace of mind service. That's I think it's something that we've wanted to do as a company, I know, for quite a while. Since before even I probably started working here, I know it's something we wanted to roll out. So it's really good. To just finally have this going in both the US and Canada. Real quickly before we wrap up here, wanted to remind everyone again, if you're in Canada, between Calgary and Winnipeg, and you'd like to see our usual host, Don Connell, please do not hesitate to give us a call. You can get a demo. You can see Don in person. He can show you how to use the laser. It's an awesome experience. And again, with Duncan and the rest of our techs doing PM tours pretty soon. If you're interested in that, feel free to reach out. And again, if you are interested in enrolling in TroCare, email Deanna. That is DEANNA.Pauli, PAULI, at trotechlaser1word.com. I think I got that. I hope I got that.
Nailed it.
And then, you can also reach out to Duncan with that as well. Certain tech calls Duncan Holwell, not Duncan Hollowell. Hollowell does not exist. Thank you, Duncan, for being so understanding of my name fumbling. But other than that, thank you guys so much for joining us here. And we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar, which is going to be me and Don covering promotional sports products. We're very, very excited for that one. I will be back in the laser engraving room doing laser work. So that should be a lot of fun. That'll be taking place, I believe, April 4th. So we'll see you then. Guys, any final thoughts?
All good. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you for allowing us to take up some time in your morning or afternoon, depending where you are. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're happy to support.
Thank you for joining, everyone. Very nice to talk with you.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.